everybody. Welcome to the Book of Sean. People, it's good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm back in the studio. I'm done going rogue in Ohio. I was in Ohio on Tuesday, and all of you who watched saw me do it from a hotel room. Do the show from a hotel room, you heathens. That's what I was doing in there. But anyway, I'm back in the studio. All my people are back. My nephews are back. My main man, Kivas, is here. We're going to have a great conversation because what do you do when you do something and you wish either that you hadn't done it at all or that you had done it differently? Come on, Dr. Sean. Yeah, all of us have been there, right? All of us have been in the place where you wish you had done it not at all, said it not at all, or done it or said it differently. And so we're going to listen to his journey tonight. He has a remarkable story, and you're going to love it. And I'm hoping by the time that we're done, I'm going to help him and help all of us learn how to live with what you can't live down. Come on here. We're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean tonight. We got some great headlines. If you give me an hour, I promise I'll give you a better day and maybe a better tomorrow. Let's do some headlines, Kylie. So let's talk about Katanji Brown Jackson, Judge Katanji Brown Jackson. Have you guys been watching the hearings? I hope you've been watching the hearings, okay, because the hearings are important. You're watching history. The first African-American woman, the first black woman is going through the confirmation process to be a justice on the United States Supreme Court. But I also want you to watch these hearings and see how these old white men treat this black woman, this brilliant black woman, this black woman who's probably smarter than everybody else in the room. You hear what I'm saying to you? I want you to watch how they treat her, how they speak to her, especially watch how Ted Cancun Cruz, Josh Hawley, Blackburn, all of the craziness, you have seen it in full display over the last week in these hearings. And let me just say it real clearly. Judge Jackson has a lot more patience and grace than I do. Because I'm telling you right now, I would have been in full confrontation and cussing the moment somebody would have said something left to me. All right? And y'all know I'm a love guy. I'm a good, I try to be, warm and all of that. But I got boundaries, man. I got boundaries. And when you step over the boundary, I help you get your soul together and get back on the other side. But Judge Jackson is full of grace and she's gentle of spirit. You follow what I'm saying? She's handling it. She is doing what black women have always had to do. She is persevering. And the hearings are kind of making me angry. And I'll tell you why they're making me angry. They're making me angry because black women have always had to be more virtuous and morally superior just to get a fraction of what they deserve. Yeah. Republicans on the committee tried to make it seem as if she was pro-sexual predator and pedophile because she followed the guidelines given to her as a judge from the United States Congress. One of the numbnuts, one of the Republican numbnuts on the committee, had the nerve to ask her, listen to this, Kivas, they had the nerve to ask her, what makes a woman, as if she's there to give a gender studies lesson. She's there to prove her competence and skill with respect to the law. Not to do a class on what makes a woman. She's not there to do gender studies. None of that. And it just goes to show you, man, that you can't let people make their issues your issues. And if you let them, people will superimpose on you their agenda and then get mad when you don't dance to the tune that they playing. How dare you not fall in line with whatever it is, whatever new form of craziness I'm trying to spin today. I love Katanji Brown Jackson. I love Judge Katanji Brown Jackson because she is the embodiment of what happens when you don't let people push your buttons. And when you understand what it means to sit low and look high. And she's also a reminder of something that I believe fundamentally, and I believe it in the city of my soul, that what's yours is yours. That what belongs to you, and no devil in hell, no man or no woman on earth can take it from you. And if Katanji Brown Jackson was born to be on the Supreme Court, then guess what's going to happen? She's going to be on the Supreme Court because nobody can curse what God has already blessed. Don't y'all make me preach. Don't get me started today, all right? I'm back in the studio and I'm ready for you. Let's move on. Let's talk about NASA because I found this story very interesting. According to NASA, check this out, people. Sit down when you listen to this. According to NASA, there are 5,000 confirmed new planets beyond our solar system. I'm just going to say it again because you act like you didn't hear me. NASA's found 5,000 planets beyond our solar system, okay? And I bring you stories like this just to remind you that the world is, and the universe is a lot bigger than you think it is, okay? I bring you stories like this to remind you that we are a part of something bigger. So let's say it again. They found 5,000 new planets beyond the solar system. The world is bigger than Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, people. You know what I'm saying? The world is bigger than whoever's in your social media feed. They found 5,000 new planets. And we don't know nothing about none of them. Listen, I'm not trying to offend anybody. But the world is bigger than the Russian and Ukrainian war. The universe, rather, is bigger than the Russian and Ukrainian war. We are so reductive. We are so myopic. We are so soloptic, trapped in our own minds, that we fail to consider the larger considerations going on around us. The universe is bigger than the people who don't like you. The universe is bigger than the people who fired you. The universe is bigger than the people who stabbed you in your back. The universe is bigger than the people who are talking about you right now. So here's my question. Why do you keep making them the center of your world? Why are those people the basis of most of your conversation when you are living in a universe where we just found 5,000 new planets we didn't even know was there? Huh? We focus on the little things so, I don't know, so sillily. That's not a word, but whatever. We focus on the little things so incredulously. That's a word. Without understanding that you are so big, you are so much bigger than what you've been through. You're so much bigger than what they said about you. You're so much bigger than the greatest mistake you've ever made. You are not what you did. You are not just what you said. You are a part of something so much larger than that. And it goes like this. Follow me through this, okay? Stay with me. When your universe is small, your world is small. And when your world is small, your mind is small. And when your mind is small, your relationships are small, and you will accept just about anything from anybody. But when your universe is big, your world is big. And when your world is big, your mind is big. And when your mind is big, your relationships get bigger. And you understand that you don't have to accept just anything from anybody, and you make people respect you. And that's why I decided to tell you today that the universe is a whole lot bigger than it started out to be last week, because we just found 5,000 new planets. So how about you make your universe bigger so your world can be bigger, so your mind can be bigger, so your life can be bigger, and your relationships can be better. That was for free. I cracked myself up. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott. And I don't usually talk about I'm not big on celebrities. You guys know that's not my thing, okay? But I wanted to talk about these two for this reason. So I heard this week that Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott decided to change the name of their newborn son. And I'm really glad that they did. So originally the name of their son was Wolf Webster. So Kylie Jenner had a baby with Travis Scott, and they decided, okay, because maybe y'all didn't get it, they decided to name their kid Wolf. So they thought it was a good idea to name. Now, I could beat them up about naming the kid Wolf, and that would be easy for me to do. And you guys know I don't take shots at people. So I want to celebrate the fact that they had the wherewithal, the wisdom, the temerity, the courage, the bravery, the insight, the ingenuity, and the genius to change the name. Listen, when people do better, you celebrate it. And I'm glad that I'm really glad that they decided to change this name, because names have power, people. Words have power. What you call a thing is often what the thing becomes. And if you name your kid Wolf, then you can't get mad when the kid comes home one day acting like a wild dog, because that's what you named him. I'm really glad they changed the name. My youngest son's name is Caleb. Caleb, it means loyal. It means faithful. It means brave. And every time I say his name, I call him back to the original intention of his life, to be a faithful, loyal, and brave soul in this meandering world, on this meandering planet. And every time I say his name, I reinforce the manifestation that I want him to bring to the earth. My other son's name is Quo Vadis. It's Latin. It means, where are you going? And every time I say his name, I make him account for where he is in the world. I make him account for where he is in his life, in his journey. Quo Vadis, where are you going? Every time I say his name, I summon the question of destiny to him. Because names have power. What you call a thing often determines what the thing becomes. And here's why I'm saying this to you tonight. Be careful what you call each other. Be careful what you call each other, not just when you're happy, but most especially when you are angry and upset. Be careful what you say to your children when you're mad at them, because what you call them may come home one day and not leave. And that's why sometimes you got to call people the opposite of how they're behaving. When the man is acting like a kid, that's when you call him a king, because you might have to live with the thing you say. A shout out to Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott for having the wherewithal to change that name, because you don't want to raise a wolf. You definitely don't want to live with one. All right, let me do my last story before we bring out Kivas, my main man. So this is a great story. This is a great story, okay? Listen to this, people. This might make me cry. Kivas, we might cry. I don't know if Kivas is a crier, but I'll cry. I'll cry on your ass. I'm telling you right now. Listen to this story. Okay. There were two cousins in the Ukraine. And Lesa and Alana. I think I got the names right, okay? I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name because, that would be a disaster. But Lesa and Alana are two cousins, and they had to flee when the Russians invaded. They ended up in Israel, okay? And when they got off the plane, the woman in the middle met them. And the woman in the middle was a kind face and a familiar face. But she wasn't just a kind face or just a familiar face. Check this out. She, that woman in the middle, was actually saved by their grandmother in the Holocaust. You're not gonna cry? You don't feel your eyes getting hot? Listen to me. That woman in the middle was saved by the grandmother of those two women on either side of her. Their grandmother saved the woman in the middle. And she, decades later, decided that she was going to save them the way their grandmother saved her. Woo! This is getting me. You know why? Because I believe in the principle that the good you give is the good you get. I believe in the principle that you reap what you sow. You hear me? I believe that if you are good to people and if you bless people, that the blessing might come to you, but guess what? It might come to your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren. And that's why you do good. You do good and you give people things that they don't even deserve, because you know that the blessings will come back to you. What would you say if I told you, hear me, what would you say if I told you that a lot of the good that you have right now didn't come because you're so wonderful? It was paid for by your grandmother and your great-grandfather. They sowed good in the earth, and life decided to reward you for their goodness. What would you say if I told you that it was not your resume that got you the job? It was the fact that your great-grandmother was kind to people who you don't even know. And life decided to make sure that her goodness did not go unrewarded. She may not have benefited from it, but you did. Woo, God, I feel like throwing my shoe at somebody in here. Do you hear me? So listen to me. Y'all be good to people. Be kind to people. Because just like these two cousins were able to land in Israel and walk up in the shadow of a woman who was indebted to them and they didn't even know it, she is repaying a debt of love. And there's nothing better in the world than to have somebody walk into your life and say, you know what? I have to do this for your children, or I have to do this for you, because your mother, your father, your grandmother, and great-grandfather, they blessed me. And I'm obligated to make sure that their progeny, that their descendants are also blessed. Let's take a break, man, because I feel like running. When we come back, I'm going to talk to Kivas about what it means to make a decision that you probably wish you didn't make, or have made, rather, or you probably wish you had done it in a different way. And by the time the night is over, he's going to feel better, I'm going to feel better, and you going to feel better, because we're going to figure out how do you live with what you can't live down. Let's go to break, Kylie. Welcome back, everybody. Steve-O and I just had this great conversation, and we came out saying we want life to owe us something. You know what I'm saying? Just be good to people and let life owe you. Let life say, I got to pay you back. Listen, all right, let's get to it, because my guest tonight, I think some of this may weave into his story, right? Because he's made decisions that we're going to think through and talk about. And those decisions, I'm sure, every decision you make affects you, okay? Every decision. What to wear, what to eat, definitely what to eat. That affects me. Where to work, you know what I'm saying? And that's Kivas' journey and story. My dear brother is here tonight. Welcome to the show to help us understand regret. Kivas will. Hey, Brother Kivas, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Dr. Sean, and yourself?
I am well, I am well, I am well. You look good on screen, man. You look good. Handsome with your green shirt. Listen, I'm excited that
I try.
Yeah, you win, you succeed. And I start out that way because I want to jump right into this question, okay? What led up to you wanting to quit your job? Because that's what we're here to talk about, is this whole moment that happened where you walked away from a job. So what happened in you or in your life that led up to you wanting to quit?
You know, it wasn't one specific time or one specific event that happened. It was kind of a combination of several things.
Okay.
But what I was able to understand after some reflection, once I had made a decision, was that I'd spent 11 years of my life pouring into other people just because of the nature of the job that I was doing at the time. And I had completely forgotten about myself, taking vacations, taking time away, even when I was not necessarily doing the job. I was always doing the job, if that makes sense. So it was really the situation where it was almost a fight or flight type of feeling, where I knew if I didn't make a change, I was going to lose myself completely. And I made a difficult decision and walked away from something I thought was going to be my life's work.
So it almost sounds as if you were trying to save your life?
You know, that might be a little bit dramatic of a phrase for it, but what it comes down to is my mental health. Yes, I think if I put it in terms of my psyche and my emotional health, then yeah, I was choosing me and what I felt like I needed to do in that moment versus, again, what I had been doing for the, decade plus prior was always putting others first. Okay.
So let's come down from the theory and let's get into the story, okay? So talk to me about the actual day you did it. How did you walk away? What did you do?
You know, it was a kind of surreal day. I had woken up that morning and just decided I was done. It was something that I've been having conversations with my superiors about for the preceding 4 or 5 months. And that particular day I just had it. And I needed to make that change in order to find my happiness. So I woke up and it almost really clear mind. It's kind of surreal. And went about getting ready for work, went into work that morning and just had that conversation. First thing, this is what I'm going to do. This is why I'm doing it. And that was that. And from there, went on and told some other people that I was responsible for managing. And by the end of the day, 11 years worth of work had been signed, sealed, and delivered, put behind me.
Wow. So you just walked in and was like, I'm out of here.
Pretty much. Like I said, there had been conversations happening in the foreground or behind the scenes for months prior to it. But the actual decision day itself was just that simple.
Okay. And I heard that you called doing that a leap of faith. Explain what you mean by that.
I didn't necessarily have a next job, a next step, something that was lined up per se to go into. I just knew that I couldn't continue doing what I was doing. So therefore, my only option for me, I felt in the moment, was to walk away. And I just had to trust in the higher power that I was going to be okay. So that for me was a huge leap of faith because there was no guarantee what was on the other side of that decision.
So you had no plan, no strategy, no plan B, no safety net. I'm being verbose for a reason. This litany has a purpose. You had you had no support. You had nothing. When you walked out of where you worked, when you left that office that day, you left without any knowledge of how you were going to eat, pay the rent, pay the car note. Is that right?
Calling an ace a spade, that's basically it, brother.
Listen, man, listen. So here it is. Is that the thing you regret? Because I know part of why you're here is because you regret some aspect of this. What about all this do you regret?
It is not that, honestly, because things have turned out to be okay. It's a lot different world for me today than it was several years ago. But the thing I regret is not having the courage to do it sooner. I think I allowed it to get to the point to where I didn't have a choice, I felt like, but to make that decision versus having had the foresight to be able to manage the stress, manage the anxiety, manage the workload so that when I had those moments of stress, I knew I had outside outlets that would allow me to kind of refill my tanks to go back in and then give to the organization I was with at the time.
So what you regret is not what you did, no. What you regret is not how you did it, no. What you regret is how long it took you to do it. So here's the $5,000 question, and you mentioned it, but I want you to go into it a little more. What took you so long?
Whew.
Yeah.
Brother, if I was able to answer that question there, I wouldn't be talking to you today. I have a book on the shelf somewhere. I've wrestled with that beast for a while now, and one of the things that continuously comes back to mind is just my sense of security. So my previous profession provided a lifestyle for me financially that was very appealing. I was able to go and do and be, in my mind, everything that I should be as a young Black professional. Having the degrees, having the experience, having the titles, all of that became very important to me and almost an identifying feature of who I was. And it stopped being me, Kivas, as a person and started being me, Kivas, as this organization, this job. So all of those trappings kind of kept it almost as a sense of necessity in my life because I wasn't sure how to separate myself from the job.
Kivas, that is so rich. I hope you know how rich that is, because so many of us who are watching and listening to you, we suffer from the same thing, and that is the fear of losing status, the fear of losing comfort, the fear of losing security keeps people trapped in things we know we should be out of, but we are more afraid to lose than we are willing to be free.
There you go.
Yes, man. You gave us that. So listen, when I say that to you, what happens in your spirit and your heart when I say that?
It's a heartwarming phrase to hear, and to be able to apply that to decisions and things in my life is really fulfilling. It doesn't, though, negate, the feeling of fear that really was an overarching part of this decision, right? So I did not know what was going to be on the other side of that decision when I made it. I just knew it had to be made. Though I had been struggling with it for, countless months prior to making the decision, I still was more willing to stay in the foolishness I knew, if that makes sense, versus going out there into the unknown. And now that I'm on the other side of it and I kind of see a different way of life, there's been some great benefits of making that decision, but there's also been moments of regret. I've made a complete 180 in my financial outlook on life and what I was doing compared to where I am now. And that also leads me back to thinking about, did I make the wrong decision when I look at the fact of, X number of years ago, this decision about a financial situation would have been black and white, whereas now there's a lot of gray into it because I've made a career shift.
Yeah, and so what I'm hearing is that the regret is gray as well, right?
Absolutely.
A part of the regret is the timing, but if I just heard you correctly, a part of the regret is also doing it at all, because you would have been in a much different financial situation had you stayed where you were. No, I love your nuance. I love your authenticity. I love your clarity, and I love your willingness for introspection, your willingness to look at yourself. So let me ask you this, because I'm loving talking to you, okay? It's not just the green shirt, all right? It's the spirit. You have a great spirit. Here's my question, though, and it's a difficult question. I'm going to push you a little bit. How did you learn to be afraid? Who taught you, or what taught you to cling to that particular fear? Because that particular fear comes from somewhere. What do you think it comes from?
You know, off top, I'd have to say a lot of it is self-imposed. You know, I was very fortunate to grow up in a family that, like most African-American families, didn't necessarily start with the golden spoon and always having access to everything. But I was raised in a two-parent household that had love and had structure and had this understanding that working hard is what got you to the next step in life. So I grew up in an environment to where there was no question about how you got what you wanted. You got up and went to work and got it. So for me, I think I internalized that a lot more than anyone putting something on me, to say that if I'm not willing to put in the time, if I'm not willing to put in the sacrifice and the struggle to get this thing, then I don't deserve to have it. Even though you have that chorus of people behind you, at least I did, and I was very fortunate to have champions in my corner to always root me on no matter what I was doing in life. For me, it became a pride situation of always wanting to make sure that I was in control. I was making the decisions. I had it all together. And again, that necessitated giving and giving and giving and doing and doing and doing and sacrificing what it was that I really wanted, because I never took time to stop and think about really how I felt about things or what I really desired.
Yeah, listen, at the end of our conversation, I'm going to give you some things to think about, but I want to give you something right now, okay? Because and I just want to pour this into your spirit and just think about it. Fear is often connected to value. We fear the loss of something we care about, not the loss of something we don't care about. And the value of security and safety and prominence and status, and none of those things are pejorative. I'm suggesting to you that in your home with your loving family, you were given that as a value. And the thought of losing that, the thought of sacrificing that, you know what I'm saying, is probably the thing that helped conjure the unwillingness to be brave sooner. But I'm so glad that somewhere along the way, you found what you needed to leap. When we come back, everybody, I'm going to ask Kivas, what does he wish he had done differently? Put the camera on me. I'm going to ask him, what does he wish he had done differently? And whatever answer he gives me, I want you to think about your answer to that question as well. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to my dear brother, Kivas Will. We're talking about what do you do when you've made a decision that you feel like you should have made it sooner, or in some cases, for some of us watching, we wish we had not made the decision at all. Regret is something we got to live with. That's what we're talking about tonight. How do you live with regret? How do you overcome it? And how do you make it something that can work for you and not against you? Kivas, so I promised everybody I was going to ask you this question, and I want to ask it now. What do you wish you had done differently?
You know, Dr. Sean, I really wish that I would have had the foresight, the courage, the desire, whatever adjective you want to put into the sentence, to have made this decision sooner, number one, but two, had the foresight to make sure that I was always doing what I needed for me before taking part in anything for anyone else. Because I think that's the biggest thing I've learned on the backside of this decision is that.
Keep it. Let me push a little bit. Do you also do you also wish that you had a plan?
You know, honestly, no. No, because I think
you're scared.
I'm being real with you.
Really?
I'm being real with you because listen, had I had to formalize a hard plan, I'd still be sitting in that position right now. That was part of my safety net, right? I knew what every day was going to bring to a certain extent in that job, and if I had to make sure that I had all my I's dotted and T's crossed before I was willing to walk out that door, I wouldn't have done it. Not me personally, at least.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I hear that. But let me talk to the audience for a second. Don't y'all do what he did, okay? Kivas is loved by the Creator. The Creator loves Kivas, okay? Don't you get to jumping out there without no plan. You hear what I'm saying unto you this day? Back to you, Kivas. So how do you feel about what you're doing now? And again, you don't have to tell us, what you actually do. I'm not asking that.
Right.
That's none of our business. But how do you feel about whatever your job is, wherever you are professionally? How do you feel about what you're doing?
Yeah, there's a lot of great things about what I'm doing right now. It's a completely different industry, a completely different world for me. But I think if I understand what you were just giving the audience as a caveat to my decision, one of the things I'm now dealing with is a lack of fulfillment in a very different way. So I spent a majority of my time using my mental capacities almost to a breaking point, whereas now I'm not having to really use much mental energy to get my job functions done. It's a very much input-output type of position. So I'm finding a new struggle in life as to wait. I'm
having an aha moment. Okay. So I'm going to ask you this question. Answer this question succinctly and short, and with a short answer, because I got a follow-up to it. Do you feel right now in this position that you are doing what you were born to do?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, good. All right. So ironically, you find yourself kind of back where you were before.
In a different situation, but a very similar outcome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's why I got all excited because life, you represent something that is so powerful, Kivas. Very rarely does life give us another opportunity to do the same thing a different way. Usually when you blow it, life says, okay, you blew it. Now you got to move on. You don't get to redo this. And you sort of got to live with how you did it the first time. And when when you get drunk, you tell people, oh, you won't believe what I did. All right. When I said you are blessed, you really are a blessed man, because life is giving you a second chance to do the same thing a different way. Here's what I mean. At the first gig, you were giving everything, not taking care of yourself, not blessing yourself, not protecting the best parts of you. And then you realized you had to leave, but you waited too long. And then you left. You found the courage. Here you are in this position, not using your full capacity, not using all of your genius, because you're a smart man. You are a brilliant man, I can tell already. And you're not using any of that. Here's my question. What are you going to do about it? Come on, Kivas.
Here's my question. Listen. Hence this conversation right here is really about me trying to find the answer to that. And that's what I'm searching for at the moment is, how do I find my passion, my purpose in life, but not lose the value of living at the same time?
Yes. Okay. All right. Here it is. I got some good news for you, and I got some bad news for you. Which one you want first?
Brother.
Which one you want first?
Let's go with the bad first. Let's lay it out there.
Okay. The bad news is you're going to need as much bravery and as much courage as you needed the first time this time. Okay? But here's the difference. If you do it differently, if you, wait for it, plan, if you strategize, if you think your way through it, but not from the perspective of running from something, but from the perspective of running to your vision. I think the thing that you really have to do is to sit down and decide what is the vision? What is the purpose? What is the thing that I'm called to do? And here it is, Kivas. I'm gonna say something real crazy. Is maybe you were doing what you were called to do. You were just doing it the wrong way. Huh? Maybe you were already where you were supposed to be. You were just not the person you needed to be to do it the right way. So what I'm going to ask you to do, number one, is to forgive yourself for whatever made you stay there so long, and to forgive yourself for whatever it is that allows you to dim your light and fold your wings to do what you're doing right now. Forgive yourself for that, okay? Forgive yourself for that. And then I'm going to ask you to do what I know you're capable of, and that is to ask yourself the hard question: what fulfills me? What brings me joy? What is the parts of me that need to come alive and to be awakened? And I would not be surprised if we brought you back to this show a year from now that you slowly started to make your way back into what you were similarly doing, but doing it from a place of being healthy and strong and secure with boundaries. What do you think of that?
Man, that would sound amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I saw your face and your body language change a little bit. What happened to you emotionally, spiritually?
You know, what you just said really resonated with me, right? Because I do love the industry in which I've left. But to your point, right place, wrong time. And that's kind of what's the overarching thing that's going through my head right now. And it's really a decision in a process of trying to figure out, to your point, what do I do? What pieces of that industry can I bring back into my life that were the best parts of it, and the things that really made me want to get up and go into that job every day? And then how do I make sure those things that were the challenges, wrong word, how do I make sure that the things that were the unfulfilling parts of that job stay at bay? And that's what I have to figure out on my own, and make sure that I'm making those decisions with that in the forefront.
Yeah, we've made some progress tonight. We really have, because it might be the case that you were in the right industry but in the wrong position. It might be the case that you were in the right position but just functioning in that position the wrong way. And I really feel after tonight that you're gonna look before you leap this time, and just receive this for a second. Without a plan, life won't take you seriously. When you begin to plan, here's what I mean. If you want a new car, I'm gonna take a break, y'all. You just stay with me. If you want a new car and your garage is cluttered, life ain't gonna take you seriously. But it's when you go out there and you make room in the garage for the car, when you don't have the credit and you don't have the money and you don't have the job, but you've already made room for it. You follow what I'm saying? That's when life and love and God or whatever you believe in says, you know what? I got to take this joker seriously. This person is making room for what they believe. And I want to leave you with that thought, my dear brother. Start to make room for what you know yourself to be capable of, because I am not going to let you stay in this position longer than you need to. What you think about that?
I appreciate the advice, my man. Sounds solid, and definitely something to reflect on in the coming days and weeks of my life.
That's good. That's good. I like, normally if you had said reflect, I would have pushed you, but in your case, reflecting and thinking and planning is a very good thing. All right, listen, everybody. Kivas is going to be fine. He has a great life and road ahead of him. So good to have him on tonight. When we come back, before we go, did you get something out of that? Here's what you should have gotten out of that. Look before you leap, and without a plan, life won't take you seriously. When we come back, we're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you got a lot out of that conversation. And the thing I really hope you got out of that was an understanding that when you're not ready, even if you're doing the thing you're supposed to do, it's not going to work out the way it needs to. Not because it's the wrong thing to do, you just got it too soon. I really pray that he really considers to go back to some of the industry that he left, because you cannot sit in a place where you know your mind is not being engaged and you're a thoughtful person and expect that to work out good for you. You see the pattern he's trapped in? Let's see if he has the courage, and let's see if we have the courage to leave when we know it's time. Woo, that's good, man. Woo! Let's do some Ask Dr. Sean, people, because I'm obviously in the mood. Got a video sent in by Rob. Let's take a look at it.
Hi, Dr. Sean. My name is Rob, and I need your advice. So I let a friend stay with me for what was supposed to be 1 month, but it turned into 4. So I want to know how to get this person out without ruining the friendship.
Yes, listen. I could tell you stories about this. I wish I didn't know this experience. I always say this, and I'm going to say it now. Rob, this may not help you because you're already in the situation, but for everybody else, this is gonna save you from being where Rob is. When you let somebody in your space, you need to have it understood how long they're gonna be there, okay? And then you need to have the courage and the wherewithal to hold the friendship and them accountable to what you agreed to, okay? So when somebody moves into your space, you need to be clear, what are we agreeing to? What are we agreeing to? And we both agree this is only gonna be a month. And at the end of the month, you say, hey, this is what we agreed to. I'm not being a butthead. I'm not being mean. This is what we agreed to. All right. In your case, Rob, you don't have that luxury because you didn't do it before. But for everybody else, don't let people in your space without having a common commitment and understanding of when they're going to leave. Here's what you need to do, Rob. You need to sit down and have a hard conversation with your friend. And here's how you do it. You say to your friend, listen, I would love to be able to support your living situation and what you're going through for the next 2 years. I would love to be able to have the wherewithal and the space to give you so that you could lick your wounds and find your way. But the reality is that I can't do it. You see, when you tell people what you can't do, they hear it differently than saying to them, I don't want to, or I'm not willing to. You got to be definitive by telling him, this isn't an option of me not liking you or wishing, I can't do this any longer. And it has to be that clear. Now, will your friendship suffer? Perhaps. Will you guys, feel some type of way about each other? That may happen. But that's the scale that you have to weigh. You have to weigh whether or not your placid friendship without interruption or disruption or turmoil or storm means more to you than the psychic, psychological, spiritual, and physical space that you need to enjoy your apartment and your life. That's a decision that you got to make. I know what decision I would make. You hear, Steve-O, you hear what I say, Auntie? I know what I would do. You got to go because I like my space. And if the friendship takes a hit, then it takes a hit. But it's going to take a hit anyway, because the more they stay, the more resentful you're going to be, and the less honest you are, the more duplicitous and scheming. No, get it out there in the open and say it the way it needs to be said with compassion, and let somebody know what you can't do and how you wish you could do more, that you wish you could support them more, but you simply can't do it, and then renegotiate the terms. So I'll give you 2 months more, a month more, 3 months more. We agree to that, and that's it. All right, good luck with that, Rob. Let me do this one real quick. My friend is getting married in another city over the summer because airfare prices are on the rise. I honestly cannot afford to attend her wedding. Should I be honest with her about why I cannot attend her wedding, or decline the invitation and send a gift instead? It's your friend, and I always say be honest with your friends. And there's nothing to be ashamed of when you don't have money. There's nothing to be ashamed of when you can't afford something. We have to stop this notion that we should be ashamed. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You're not a bad person. You're not a horrible person. You haven't done anything wrong. You're not evil. You're not full of malevolence and mendacity. You're not concupiscent. You know what I'm saying? None of that. You just don't have the money. I always say be honest with people and say, I just can't afford it. I would love to be there. Okay? And send a gift. And send a gift so that the person knows that you really are thinking about them, and it really is just about the money. It isn't about you not wanting to be there. So if you're honest and say, look, I just can't do it right now, it's just not where I am. It goes right back to Rob's question. Tell people what you can't do, all right? And you'll be surprised at how people hear that differently than I don't want to, or you know what I'm saying? You follow? So tell your friend what you can't do, what the constraints are. Tell your friend what you wish you could do. I wish I could be there. I wish I could be a part of it, but I can't. And then send a gift so that they know that you care and that you are the friend that you purport yourself to be. You're going to be fine, all right? And I'm going to speak this over your life before I take this break. One day, you're going to have the money. And one day, you're going to be able to go and fly wherever you want. One day, your money's not going to be in the situation that it is. You know how I know it? Because the same thing happened to me. God, if I had a shoe, I'd throw it at the camp. Go to break, Kylie. All right, I got a quick story for you before I do this Ask Dr. Sean. So I was flying back from Columbus this week, and my flight from Columbus to Chicago, my flight was supposed to go Columbus, Chicago, LA. But the flight from Columbus got delayed, and then I had to be rebooked. So I got rebooked from Columbus to Denver. And while I was waiting to get on the plane in Columbus to go to Denver to go to LA, I looked for the upgrade, and the upgrade to first class was just $40. And I upgraded myself to first class. Now, I normally fly first class, but in this case, I couldn't. But anyway, here's the moral of the story. Sometimes you miss something that you thought you wanted only to get something else that you liked even more. That was for free. Let's do some more Ask Dr. Sean Hiley. All right, let's watch this video sent to me by Jasmine.
Hi, Dr. Sean. My name is Jasmine, and I'm from Michigan. My fiance and I, years ago, decided to raise our kids in our small town here in Michigan. My fiance just was offered a huge opportunity to work in New York on his dream job, and I just found out I'm expecting. Is it selfish of me to not want to leave?
No, it's not selfish. It's complicated, all right? I'm not going to lie, it's complicated, but it's not selfish. But it's also not brave, and it's also not courageous. Part of what my guest tonight, Kivas, wrestled with for far too long is the commitment to safety and security, a commitment to comfort, a commitment to being comfortable and having what you always expect in the way that you always expect it. And I hope that what you've seen through his story tonight is what that gets you, is that it fills you with regrets and it fills you with things that you wish you had done sooner or a different way. And I can't tell you to leave or stay. I'm not in that position. I don't know enough about your situation, your finances, your family, and all of that. But I am going to urge that you do the brave thing, that you not be so committed to being comfortable, even though you're pregnant, that you subvert and undermine what your destiny might be. Because I can certainly see you saying, Dr. Sean, I'm pregnant. I need to be surrounded by people I know and I love so they can go through this with me together. I got that. But let me give you an alternative scenario. You ready for this? What if your fiance is the man that you were born to love, the one that you were born to be soulmates with? What if he is the one who was supposed to take you somewhere you've never been so that you could become something that you have never become before? What if your relationship with him is the love scenario that everybody dreams about? What about that? So factor that into your thinking, okay? My point is, don't be so committed to comfort. Don't be so committed to being secure in what you know that you're unwilling to even to consider the possibility, to step out, to lean into the dark, and to follow something other than what you have been conditioned and trained to look for. Huh? I ain't trying to get all spiritual, Steve-O, but I just got to go there. Genesis 12, Abraham, get thee out of thy father's house and out of that kindred country to a land that I will show you, and I will make your name great. But you can't be great until you leave. Woo! All right, let me do another question, because I swear I'm going to break a camera in here. Someone DM me this. I own a thriving business, and a good friend recently asked me for a job. I love her, but she has a poor work ethic. I don't want to hire her, but I know she needs money. Should I go against my better sense and hire her? Whoa, this is a good question, isn't it? All right, I got a two-part answer to this. Here it is. If you are the only means of income for your friend to have some food in her stomach and some shelter over her head, then I think you do have to consider the possibility of going against your better judgment. But it's how you do it. And that's the other part of the answer. So I'm saying you should not watch your friend starve. Did you hear what I said unto you? You should not watch your friend be homeless, okay? Because that ain't friendship. A bad work ethic does not excuse you allowing your friend to be hungry and homeless. But it's how you do it. Since you know your friend has a bad work ethic and you know he or she's going to get on your nerves, I think you said she, and you know you're going to end up wanting to pour hot grits on them because they don't wake up until 2 o'clock in the afternoon and they're supposed to be at work at 8 p.m. Since you already know it, here's what you do. You say to your friend, yes, you can work for me, but you can only work for me for 6 months. That's it. I'm willing to pour resources into you and get you more stable, lick your wounds, build your wings back up. But in 6 months, you got to go. You follow me? So it's the best of both worlds. I'm not abandoning you when you need me the most. I'm not leaving you to the wolves when you're bleeding. But I'm also not going to put myself in a situation where your horrible work ethic ruins my business and how I feel about it ruins our friendship. I'm going to help you so you get to be happy, and I'm going to put a boundary on it when you have to go so I get to be happy too. So now both of you get to be happy. Isn't that a wonderful thing when everybody gets to be happy? Okay? Help your friend. All right? Don't let your friends be homeless. Because I got some so-called friends that let me be homeless. And I still want to pour some hot grits on them. I'm working on forgiveness. This is why I do this show, so I can teach and learn at the same time. I forgive you, all my friends who let me be homeless. And I forgive you. What if I mean what I say? I forgive you, people. So listen, be good to your friend, but be good within the boundaries that you can stand. And just know what to expect, okay? Here's the last thing I'm going to give you. You already know they have a poor work ethic, so don't expect them to be Steve Jobs. Don't expect them to be working those 16 hours a week. That ain't going to happen. That ain't who they are. Go into it with open eyes, knowing that that's who they are, and expect them to show up every time the way that they are. All right, Kivas, thank you for being on tonight. Thank you for watching. Don't you feel better? I promised you if you gave me an hour, I would make you feel better. You're going to have a better day. And you feel better, people. So how about we do this again? I will see you soon. Y'all be good to each other, all right? Be amazing. Yeah. I love you.